5 tools to drive leads, revenue, and happier customers in HubSpot.
Welcome to HubSpot Mentors. My name is Semih and I'm joined with my colleague, friend, Tasha. How are you, Tasha?
Best friend, Semih.
Best friend at work.
You can take the new title. Moby doesn't want me as his best friend, so you can have
Oh, thank you.
Did you say best friend at work?
Best friend at work.
Oh my God, what a shutdown. Yes, I'm good. I'm very excited to talk about this topic. I delivered a keynote on this at an event a few weeks ago. It was with the CEO Institute, which we would love to tag into this wherever you're listening or hearing this. But with the CEO Institute, I delivered a keynote on exactly this: 5 tools to drive leads, revenue, and happier customers in HubSpot. So there's been this really big theme this year, Semih, and I mean, we've done some episodes about it, about do more with less.
Yeah.
And, people wanting to basically use the tool that they've got to do more stuff, right? So there's 5 things that, I can't actually take all the credit for. I mean, you run optimizations really well. We've got a whole bunch of team members that are doing them like this now. And these 5 things I'm going to share with you today are things that, you're doing day in and day out with your clients already. But kind of the analogy that I like to use for this particular topic is, and this is a really good one, is, a lot of businesses have this like Swiss Army knife of a CRM, right? So if you're not familiar with a Swiss Army knife, which I know you are, but if you're listening and you're like me 5 years ago, I didn't know what it was. It's this red thing and it's got all these like tools that like pop out. There's a knife, there's tweezers, there's a screwdriver, scissors, all that type of stuff. So a lot of businesses come to us with this Swiss Army knife of a CRM. But what we see is marketing, sales and service teams are all flipping out one blade of their Swiss Army knife CRM and just hoping for the best. They're all using the same blade to do the same tool, and like it's working, but it's, barely working, right? It's not until that they start to realize that, every single tool in the Swiss Army knife actually has a purpose-built reason for it.
Yeah.
And this is what I want to take you guys through today, is like what tool to use at the right time so that you've got a really, really powerful CRM and you're using it for the right things.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like a few touch points on this is like, and I get this all the time, is like, Semih, we don't know what we don't know, right? It's like, that's 100%. Perfectly fine. You don't know what you don't know, but you should be like, this is the episode that you should be watching so that you know some of the tools that you might need to look into. You might need to look into a little bit further, right? That's the whole game plan here.
Yeah.
And so so for example, the one tool that typically I see everyone using is like contacts page for everything, right? Like contacts view, for example, for everything, for managing your leads. For sometimes I might use a deal pipeline. I had a client that wasn't even using deal pipelines and was like, why can't I get my reports in for like figuring out how to get all these amounts that we're trying to close? And that's, again, I guess this is where that episode will come really, really handy for those types of people, just to understand the only 5 tools that we would recommend that you should definitely master or get your head around, with some examples in there. So yeah, very excited for today.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a topic close to home for me. I think this is a combination of me delivering onboardings and optimizations for, more than 10 years. And these are the things that just keep coming up. And every time I deliver this talk, whether it is to a room of, 200 plus people or a more intimate room of, 30 to 40 CEOs, these are basics. These are fundamentals. And it's so crazy how many times we have clients come in that have been in a system and they're paying so much money for this really robust CRM and they're using like 10% of it. And so we always start with these things and no more fluffing around. Let's get right into it. So like I said, 5 things. The first one I want to share with you, and this is probably one of my favorite, also one of my most challenging ones to deliver on for clients, because it does require a lot more than just building something. There's a lot of change management here, but this is daily sales discipline. So think of the first tool that we want to talk about as, what are your salespeople doing in Sales Hub every day? So, we know that the best salespeople are like robots, right? They always do the same thing. They've got a routine. They, come into work of a morning. They open up this, they open up that, they do this, they do that. And then, then they save this part of the day for this type of task. So when we talk about daily sales discipline, there's typically 3 things that we will refer to, or we will set up and train our sales clients on. When I say sales clients, I'm specifically talking about our clients that use HubSpot for sales, right? Think of it as a daily triad: dashboards, reports, pipeline, and your tasks. So these 3 things, without come hell or high water, these are the 3 things that salespeople have to do every day. So what do I mean by, dashboard? Every day, a sales rep opens up a sales dashboard. And on their dashboard, there's a few key things in there. Like, it already kind of ties into pipeline and tasks, but we can see leading indicators of how many calls have you made, how many emails have you sent, how many tasks have you completed, or how many tasks do you need to complete, how much revenue have you closed in your deals. So those key kind of leading indicators, and then we've got the lagging indicators the other way around. The leading ones are the pipeline created, so like how many deals have you created, how many tasks have you done, all that type of stuff. And then right next to it, you've got the lagging. How much have you closed? How much have you completed? All those types of things. So the first thing we do is build those reports and surface that data front and center, because something that we know is true, what you focus on is what grows. So if you're not, as a sales leader or as a sales person, not looking at your dashboard, which includes your pipelines, your tasks, and your deals, if you're not looking at it every day, how do you know where to focus?
Yeah.
So that's number 1.
Yeah, very, very key here. And it's not about having multiple pipelines. It's about having the pipeline or 1 or 2 pipelines that's going to get you to focus on the key elements of an interaction, about what are the things that you need to get done that will then drive those reports. So yeah, I completely agree with you. I think it's fundamental that they know how to use those tasks, use those pipelines and stuff, and figure out how to kind of navigate that through the activities that get reported on. Absolutely, good point. Why do I think one question that keeps coming up is, would you agree that most sales teams are lazy with follow-ups, and then they blame the bad leads, instead of like their processes?
What a loaded question, Semih. Now, I don't know who's listening to this, but no, I don't think salespeople are lazy. I think they can hate admin. Like, generally speaking, salespeople don't like admin, and they don't like having to log stuff and do the thing in the CRM. So, not that I think it's a lazy thing, but it's definitely what's in it for me? Why am I doing this? What's the point? And so if I come back to that dashboard and say, what you focus on is what grows. So how do you know what to focus on if you're not logging, if you're not storing that activity, if you don't know how much pipeline you've created this month, if you don't know how much pipeline you've closed this month, and you know that we need 2 to 4 times our pipeline closed in created to hit our target, right? So I don't think it's a lazy thing. I think it's there's no visibility there, and they haven't seen the what's in it for me outcome. And it's not until they see the what's in it for me does it really start to drive that change management.
Yeah. One more thing as well is, like, I do hear this often, is like, oh, we've got bad leads. The definition, like, you should have a definition of a bad lead, in my opinion. That's probably key. And then it's not about the lead that's being bad. It's about, like, your sales process disqualifying them before they end up to you, or you're looking at ways to disqualify them quickly, and that all ties to your sales process as the core. So yes, I would agree. Yeah. I would agree fundamentally that the process is what drives the sales, across the board. And having that interaction doesn't make you lazy. Having, really good a process that you know what needs to happen next, doesn't equate to bad leads. So it's absolutely important here. So the only thing I might probably make a little comment here is that if the dashboards aren't being updated with the activities and stuff, your dashboards are a lie, essentially.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much.
So
pretty much, they're not giving you the truth, right? The opposite to the truth is a lie. So the dashboards are really hard to rely on if the team members aren't putting the right information in. We always say rubbish in, rubbish out.
Yeah.
right? So we come into these portals, we hit fundamental 1, and we're like, okay, sales team, this is your daily discipline. And by this point, we've already built them a report based off of our best practice and what I've just shared. And, even this morning I had a client which was like this, it was an activities report that hit all these metrics. And they're like, Tasha, this is fantastic. I'm like, yeah, it's really good, client, but no one in your team is using the CRM. Like, no one was using it. So the reports were great, but it really clearly highlighted there's an adoption issue in their team. Now, we weren't engaged to help them solve the adoption issue. I gave them heaps of kind of resources to do that, but I've given them the report that they can now focus on. So what's going to happen? They're going to focus on it. Therefore, it is going to grow. And we know this to be true.
Just before we move on to the next topic, is like setting your, your KPIs around HubSpot would definitely drive that, in my opinion.
100%.
Right?
Call targets, revenue targets.
If it's not in HubSpot,
it
it hasn't been done. Sorry, you just wasted like an hour and a half of your meeting.
I love that.
An hour and a half of your meeting, but there's nothing to show for it.
When a client says to me, if it's not in HubSpot, it doesn't exist, I'm like, boom, you got it. That's it. That's how we want it to be. Now, you said, I want to move on to fundamental 2, which I think is a really nice segue off of what you said a couple of moments ago, sales process. So obviously our dashboards, our fundamental 1 of daily sales discipline is super important, and it's what highlights our process, which is what Semih was saying. So fundamental 2, and this is my favorite one. This is the one that I think, I have the most experience in, and I can speak to it really confidently, and that is your customer journey mapping. So standardizing customer journey mapping across the departments. So you've got your pre-sales, think of it as your lead. So your lead pipelines, what happens when marketing generates a lead? What do those stages look like? So Semih was talking before about what's the process to gather a lead, contact a lead, qualify a lead, turn it into a deal. So that's your lead kind of stages. Then we talk about your deal stages or your sales pipeline. So once a lead is indeed qualified, how do we then make sure we are following them up at the right time? We are, scoping their requirements properly. We're really aggravating the pain points so we can offer the best solution. Once we've converted the sale into a customer, what does the customer service piece look like? Is there an onboarding period? Is there a delight period? So this idea of a customer journey map, and if you have ever heard me speak on anything, you'll know that customer journey mapping is one of the most important things that we will do for our clients. It's the most strategic thing, I think, especially if they come to us with a messy HubSpot portal and they have no idea what tool is doing what thing. We're like, customer journey map is generally the first thing we do. And you could argue why I didn't mention that as fundamental 1. I mean, I like kind of starting with the hard things, which is the salespeople. So we started with that one, but coming into what I think is probably the most important fundamental is customer journey map. This ultimately solves the problem that we see in every business, which is everyone is selling in their own way. We've got sales rep A over here doing what he wants, sales rep B doing what she wants, sales rep C doing a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, and then sales rep D doing absolutely nothing because I don't log anything anywhere, but they seem to hit targets, who knows why or how. So the solution, customer journey map, which, I will definitely share a template and an article in this episode show notes for how you can do it. And the key kind of message I want to drive home here before I hear from you, Semih, is the stages in the lead and the deal and the service pipelines, they're not feelings. A lot of the time, salespeople are like, oh, I feel like they're a good deal. I feel like they're going to close this month. I don't give a F about your feelings, right? I just want to see data points. So you have scoped this opportunity. You have proposed this opportunity. You are quoting this opportunity. So that's all it is. It's data.
I think, just to add to Tasha's point, that, even for me, when I first started working in this space, customer journey map was something that maybe some businesses don't know what actually it is, right? The mapping your customer, what does that actually mean, right? I'd love to get your opinion on that as a high level. What does that look like?
Like the definition of a customer journey map? What is it?
Exactly.
It is essentially, the stage or the touch points, every single touch point a potential buyer might have with your business. broken up into 3 kind of key sections of this pre-sales, sales, and post-sale. And we identify them in these stages, like what I was saying, which is, I think you could consider it like a timestamp on that person to say, this is a new lead. And then we know this was a new lead from, this time period. Under every single one of those stages, I said before, is the touch points. So when are you calling them? When are you following up? How long do you wait to follow up again? What automation can we use? And we do that for every single stage. So it is a tedious process. Every client is a little bit different. I mean, at the end of the day, buying in general, like the psychology of buying, is generally the same, but every business does it a little bit differently, right? So we have to make sure that for every business, we are understanding what the top sellers, like the top performing salespeople are doing, and then we replicate it into a processable format that is somewhat automated and documented.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with you. I think it goes beyond the deal pipeline. I think that's what you're trying to say. It goes beyond the deal pipeline. It leads from marketing all the way across to like operations, and taking a step back and look at the whole picture going, okay, cool. This is what happens when my ideal customer comes into my ecosystem and they flow it through, right? I love that. Great.
Yeah, every single step.
Great.
Every single step. And I mean, it's so hard sometimes for businesses to do this for themselves because they're too close to it.
Yeah.
They're too close to it. They're a little bit emotional about it, to be quite frank, and they know it's valuable, but they don't ask themselves the hard questions. So in comes Red Pandas, and we ask the quote unquote stupid and hard questions, like, why do you do it like that? Why do you do it like this? What's the point of that? What happens after this? And like, it's tedious, but I mean, I've never had a customer journey map in 10 years come back to us and someone say, this is rubbish, I don't like it. The feedback every single time is, this is amazing. I'm so glad you did this. I can't believe you put all of this information into one document. So it's incredible what we can do.
As long as they don't go ahead and say, hey, my customer journey map involves redesigning my logo. That's annoying.
Well, it's irrelevant.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
I'm like, not my problem. Get out of here. Are you ready for number 3?
Let's go. Let's talk about this.
All right. Fundamental number 3. You love this one. I know you do. Seamless sales to service handover. I mean, the problem here, everyone here can probably remember a time that they've had a really clunky handover themselves as a consumer between sales and service. And you have all these hopes and dreams sold to you by the salesperson, who is generally like a big visionary, easy talker type of thing. And then it goes into customer success, and it was like half the conversation you had with sales was just lost. And it never got handed over to customer success. And that handover is clunky. It feels bad. You lose customer satisfaction straight away. You drop the ball. It's just not nice. And I mean, speaking from experience, we a few months back, maybe earlier this year, we dropped the ball with, we actually had invoices going out to new clients before they got a welcome email from us. And that's completely on us. There was just a bad handover process there. So we sat down, figured out what needed to happen at what time, by who, what system, and now we have a really beautiful welcome email going out to our new clients within like a few business hours of a deal officially closing. And they get a welcome email from the department manager, depending on what they've bought from us, which starts to deliver value straight away. So it's, hey, it's your client manager. This is what you can expect. You're going to get this from us. So it's like you've closed the deal. They're excited. Yes, we've just engaged. We've just spent a lot of money. We've just engaged with the business. We've, poured our heart and soul out to the salesperson because our HubSpot system is rubbish. And, within 2-3 hours, they get this really nurturing email, like welcoming them into the project. And then about a day later, an invoice. So it's that handover piece there sets the expectations, sets up the right tasks triggered off of that, sends the invoice a few days later. So it's like a really nice handover piece of, this is what sales has said, send it over to the dedicated project manager, send them a welcome email, set some tasks up automatically. So that handover piece is so often underbaked.
So whose fault is it, Tasha? Like when it goes real badly, is it sales or delivery?
Semih and his spicy questions. Whose fault is it? I mean, I'm in delivery team, right? So I'm going to say it's sales.
And then sales is gonna be,
but
and then sales are gonna be like, hey, you didn't ask me the question.
Delivery.
I don't know what you need
exactly.
from me, right?
So in my experience, and this is from experience, and Semih, I mean, you've been down this path with me. We are so lucky that the salespeople at Red Pandas, we can sit down with and have honest conversations and be like, mate, this was not good. Like, you missed this, you missed that, you missed this. And then in their defense, they turn around and be like, well, I don't have anywhere to put that. I don't know where you want it. Where should we do it? So we've collaboratively,
collaborated, yeah.
We've gotten together and we've collaborated. Thank you. I make up a lot of words. Together, we've worked on figuring out what we need from sales to our department, and that's either digital marketing department or HubSpot department, from sales to ensure we can continue delivering the best client experience.
Yeah, I agree. I think HubSpot has made this a little bit easier recently as well. When with the customer with the new AI agent launches, there is a customer. I forgot the name of the actual agent, but it's a handoff. It's a customer handoff agent. Customer handoff agent. So you literally write the customer's name, and then you put in the role it's going to be going to. Right, and then what HubSpot does is it actually goes through
customer agent handoff.
Yeah, what actually goes is it goes through all the interactions that the sales rep has been recording up until this point, goes through the journey that you've took them on up until like close one, and then gives a document with online resources about recent news and stuff, brings them all together into a role specific PDF document that could just be passed over to the next person to be able to then take that and go, okay, cool. You had a whole bunch of questions, and you said this specific phrase in that conversation. Though we picked that up. You just feel like a rock star at the end of that. So highly recommend you check it out.
That that agent's pretty sick. What's it called? Sales to operations handoff. That's what it's called. Transfer between owners using CRM interaction data. So we've trialed it in the Red Pandas portal. I think so far so good. We haven't really embedded it into our full process, but I'm definitely liking it.
Sorry, Tasha, I actually renamed that to Sales Operations Handler in our portal.
Oh, dude. So what's it called?
It's called customer. It's called customer handoff agent. But yeah,
sales to operations handoff. Oh, I got you. Yeah, okay.
It's called
Semih playing with things.
It's called
whatever
agent,
it is. It gets the sales stuff and it hands it over to the delivery stuff.
That's
what it does.
Or hands it over from one account to another account. So one account owner to another account owner.
Yeah.
Again, your CRM is your customer relationship management tool, right? And so we want that tool to be more efficient with providing the information that you need to make the next action. Right? This action is that taken over from one person to another person. Simply put, you need that data source to then be able to do that. And if you're not recording, if you're not updating, if you're not informing that CRM, you're never going to get the results that you would want to see or the efficiency that you want to see. 100%. Simply put.
So it's not sales, it's not service, it's a little from column A, a little from column
B. All right, let's go to the next one.
All right. Fundamental number 4. This is your favorite one, I reckon. Source of truth reporting. So this is a biggie. This one, I mean, is not just a biggie in terms of the impact it has on a business when we get it right, but often clients come to us and they are doing this so poorly. They're doing it so bad, and they pay us a lot of money to come in here and clean it up, and it is worth a lot of money because of the time that it takes for us to do this. But I'm talking about can you accurately tell me where your leads are genuinely coming from? Like at 80% confident. I'm 80% confident I know where my leads are coming from. Or rephrase that, I know where 80% of my leads are coming from, at least.
Yeah.
So many people can't answer that question, or they're like, nah, it's probably more like 50.
Yeah.
50% of the time I know where they're
or
coming
like
from.
they might use HubSpot's a default original source and be like, oh, they're all paid ads or paid social.
But they only do the original source. They don't drill down. Like, they don't have any custom.
Which one? Yeah. Which one? You got Facebook, you got you got Google. Which one is it? Which one is driving you the resources so you can spend more money on that, right?
That's it. And I think that's the biggest thing. the bugbear that I have is that HubSpot does a fantastic job with its original source. I'm pretty sure we've spoken about this in another episode. Original source and drill down 1 and drill down 2. If you know what to look for with those 3 properties, you can probably get to 80% of
100%.
known traffic.
Yeah, just to be clear on what Tasha's actually talking about, it's not saying let's not use them. We're saying let's use them, but then map them to something that's going to make more sense for us to then report on. So very specifically put forward for you is doing the hard yards of going, where did this person come from? Looking at it from a whole heap of people, and then grouping them together and then saying, okay, cool, this is now moving forward. This is going to be our reporting metrics so that we know where our money should be going. We know where our efforts should be spent. That's all it is.
Yeah. I mean, not to get too tactical, but this one is a very tactical thing. It's like strategically, you should know where your leads are coming from. But to get to that point, to the level that is our standard, which is generally, like, in my opinion, maybe I'm biased, some of the best lead source reporting I've seen. And I've worked in a lot of portals. I'm pretty confident in that statement. But it's like to get to that level, and it's not even about being super granular, because like we can go super granular, but I mean, I just finished doing some work with like Clarendon Homes, and they didn't want super granular. They just wanted like these 4 very specific lead sources, which they didn't have when they engaged with us, and now they do have them based off of original source, HubSpot's original traffic source, and drill down 1 and drill down 2. So what Semih and I are talking about is using HubSpot's one of, I think, the most infamous features of original traffic source, and then configuring it with some workflows to what we would call a sexy name of lead source taxonomy. So create your list of your custom lead sources and then auto set them based off of HubSpot's original source. If you're listening to me going, that's a lot of sauce talk, I feel like some hot wings and a buffalo sauce.
I was gonna say it's not.
Then I've lost you.
It's not barbecue sauce, yeah.
I've lost you, and I would rather you tune in for the featured feature of this episode, which I go into depth in this in a longer kind of presentation. So, source of truth reporting. We all know, Semih already said it, when we know where our leads can be attributed to, what source they came from, that then cascades into, okay, this is what brought us these leads turned into deals, these deals turned into customers, and we can do the full circle back to knowing our ROI. So that campaign yielded us good results, that one didn't, this one's useless. Yeah. Let's keep putting money here.
Just for those business owners that do have HubSpot, just an FYI, like if you have any conversation with any smart business consultant, the first set of questions that would be asking you by default, like talking about Alex Hormozy, all the other guys, by default, they'll be asking is where are you getting your leads from? That question is so difficult to answer without knowing your lead source. All right, so I just want to stress the importance of that. And let's move on to the next one.
It's crazy how many people can't answer that question though. I'm so passionate. Final fundamental, and this one is for our service people out there, and that is reviews engine on Autopilot. So what do I mean? When we talk about reviews, I mean, think of yourself as a consumer. When you're engaging a business or a brand, one of the first things that you're going to do is probably go and Google search them. So when you Google search them, what comes up first? Their Google business page, right? And depending on the time of the day and the algorithm and all that stuff that Google does, you might not just see them, but you might see them and then some competitors, either locally nearby, or people that rank for similar keywords or services, right? So when you see that ranking or you see that listing, one of the most visual and first things our eyes are going to be drawn to are the reviews. The 5-star reviews, the count of reviews, not just how many stars are they rated, but how many reviews have they got? You know, when you go on Uber Eats and you're looking for a new Uber thing, like a new provider, and you don't want to get food poisoning, so you look for the ones that have got the most 5-star reviews, right? That's what people do, and they do that to your business. So if you don't have Google business reviews as number one, in my honest opinion, is number one, Google business reviews. Depending on what division or industry you're in, you might have some industry-specific review platforms as well. But if you don't have social proof, you're gonna lose opportunities. You're gonna lose opportunities before they even get to be a lead or an opportunity. So what we talk about with this fundamental is using HubSpot or using your CRM, because again, any decent CRM could probably do a lot of these fundamentals. We're super HubSpot biased, obviously. But using HubSpot, knowing your moment of truth with your customer, like when are they their most happiest? It could be when the deal closes. It could be when they get the keys to their house or car. It could be when they've completed their course, like whatever the sales process is. When you know your moment of truth, and this is why the customer journey map is important, because it all like links in, trigger a review request. And that's when you send a very standard type of email, which is like, hey, congratulations on blah, or we're so happy, blah. You've got 2 minutes, let us know how we went. And we like to keep it super simple, 3 faces, red, orange, green. If they click green, it actually links directly to the little pop-up for when you go to leave a 5-star review on Google. So we don't take them to a login page, we don't take them to our GMB page, we actually take them to the link that opens the 5-star. So it's 2 clicks away from leaving 5 stars. So we keep it very, very tight. If they click orange or yellow face, that goes to a landing page with a form that says, we're sorry, we didn't meet we didn't give you 5-star service. Let us know, how we can do better. Leave them some blah, blah, blah. And then we always say, would you like to be contacted about your feedback? And if they say yes, please make sure someone in the service team contacts that person about their feedback. That's just like, general like human best practice, I think. But what we've done with this strategy for our clients over the years is at least 2 come to mind where we've taken our clients from like 1.8, 2.2 stars up to like 4.9, 4.4, 4.8, I think even a 5 for some of our clients over a period of time of a very targeted moment of truth, the best time to email, 2 clicks away from 5 stars.
Yeah.
So I just the takeaway for this fundamental, Semih, really is happy customers don't leave reviews, prompted ones do. So we can all have happy customers, but if we don't prompt them, if we don't make the ask, as our team say, they're not going to leave you a review.
No, I can completely resonate with that. It's so important. I can even take it a little bit further. I don't know where I heard this from, but it's like reviews are the next currency, right? So it's the amount that would pay, but leaving good reviews is the next currency that you need to be measuring yourself on. Again, okay, cool. In my bank, I've got like 10 grand now, or like 100 grand, whatever that looks like. But in my review section, I've got like, 10 reviews. Well, you know what I mean? That's not really good enough. So let's focus on trying to bring that more by doing those strategies, tactical stuff that Tasha talked about, which is brilliant because it guarantees that they're going to be getting the stars, the 5 stars. Not only that as well, it's giving you the opportunity to then rectify that without making a big impact on, your overarching review bank.
Yeah, that's it. That is it. You got any other spicy questions for me, Semih? Should I wrap it up?
Ooh, let's see. Is CRM failure a leadership problem, in your opinion?
Oh, great question. CRM failure leadership problem. I've seen it both ways. I do think ultimately an organization's success to CRM adoption and usage is a cultural thing. That's one of the things that we've struggled with over the years is when we struggle with a client to adopt the CRM and the tools, it's a cultural thing. So they have to be the business culture has to be open to change and trying something different and doing something new. And we all know culture comes generally top down. So when leadership don't create a space for change and development and challenging of the status quo, it is hard for that to filter down to the team, like I must say. So in a way, yes, I would say leadership, like there's a reason why you're a leader, right? Heavy is he who wears a crown, whatever it's called. And that is true. I think as leaders, you have responsibilities to facilitate change in your team. And help them. So that comes down to adopting CRM best practice.
So just to understand, what you're saying is if a CEO isn't using a CRM, why should their team use it then?
Well, yeah, to an extent. It depends on that CEO's role, right? Because some CEOs are more involved than others.
Yeah.
But I know like our CEO, if he wasn't using HubSpot, it'd be very hard for us all to kind of drink from that fountain of use HubSpot when you're not using it.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on the CEO of the business, in my opinion. But yeah, leadership.
And so leadership and culture. So culture is the fundamental thing that would then drive it. And if your CEO isn't part of the culture, then you're going to have, the wrong culture.
That's it.
All right.
All right. Well, I want to recap. So five key tools that you should be using in your CRM, specifically HubSpot, to drive leads, lead generation, more revenue, and happier customers. We talked about daily sales discipline, so your daily triad, reports, tasks, pipeline. We talked about your customer journey map, which you're going to get a guide in the show notes as to how to do that. We talked about the sales to service handover. We talked about lead attribution and reporting on sources. And finally, we spoke about the revenue engine on Autopilot. So do these 5 things. You don't need to buy any more software. This is already available in your software. And when you do these 5 things, I don't like to guarantee things because people remember shit you guarantee. But I can be very confident you will see more leads, happier customers, and more revenue. With that said, Semih, we're not doing specifically a featured feature today, but I am going to share the goodies that I shared when I gave this keynote. So you're actually going to get the keynote so you can watch it, that people paid good money to come and watch. So give me your email address and you get the keynote. And I'm going to share with you some of the other goodies I shared. So like the templates, a couple of tips on how to do those customer journey mappings and other tactics we've done today.
Yeah, it's a good topic today. I know you spent a lot of hours trying to prepare for that one, and so whoever's watching this episodes of Marketing Mentors, you get a little snippet of that and all the goodies part of that too. So give us some feedback, reviews, comments underneath the episodes. We'd love to hear that, and see you guys next time.
Thanks, Semih.